Howdy folks, Pilgrim here. There's much written in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament, and within those pages are many pieces of the puzzle that make up the whole of the picture. There's much math involved, as the Holy One is a master in mathematics, as he created it. In short, when he created speech and the words came from his mouth, they were images representing also letters and numbers, and we've covered some of that in our studies of gematria. Today one can sit down and use letters to make up the words we speak, in whatever language we have. Most professors of math recognize that certain numbers will fall into different organized groups. Thus we see what are called triangular numbers, as well as prime numbers. The group that each of these falls into tells us about it. These groups are so perfect that when used properly, they can tell us many things about why it is placed within that group, and it then relates to the subject matter at hand. Now I'm trying to give you a quick answer here, but there is really no quick way. It will be very hard for you to understand without some study and seeing for yourself. Suffice it to say that the first sentence of Genesis chapter 1 is both a sentence and a set of numbers with a total. That total is broken down into many facets, and more is there, much more, even into the symmetrics field. Science has long recognized these numbers and used them to classify certain fields of study. For instance, the atom, when studied, has a number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. By knowing the number in each instance, we can know what type of atom it is. The oxygen atom that gives you and I life and breath is made up of 8 electrons, 8 neutrons, and 8 protons, or 888. Sound familiar? Well, given what we've recently learned from the Genesis timeline about God's signature, it should, because in the Greek, another language where we can see some of these facts, the name translated Jesus, when you take the gematria of that name in Greek, when the numbers are added up for the name itself, they add up to 888. He is our life, the oxygen atom that gives you and I life and breath. Now read John 1 and verse 4. Chapter 1 verse 4. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. Also look at the book of 1 John chapter 1. It says, God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. By knowing enough about these numbers and the patterns they are used in, we can learn things that were never before thought possible. Yes, even in his word, the word made flesh. Even the Master himself says to his disciples that there are many things that he would like to tell them, but cannot at this time. Now read John chapter 1 verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. What I will tell you is this: you will only understand when you truly believe God and examine his word to prove all things and hold fast that which is good. God bless. Howdy folks, Pilgrim here. I had a tooth yanked out today, so it's not easy for me to talk, but I'm going to do it anyway because it needs to be done, and you guys have been waiting for long enough. So here we are with lesson 10 of the Genesis timeline. Now my only focus in all this is to reach as many people for the kingdom as possible, and by means of the Genesis timeline I've been able to show you in as clear a manner as I know how that time is very definitely and specifically running out for us to be able to save all those people that we want to reach. It's good to hear it, and it's good to hear new insights, but are we sharing it? Are we trying to reach those people? So let's continue. When we look back to the scriptures to see how things were created, we always see the mathematical relationship. Isaiah 40 verse 12 reads, Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out heaven with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance. These words, measured, meted, span, comprehended, weighed, scales, and balance, all denote the use of mathematics. It requires mathematics to measure, span, to weigh, to balance. Therefore, we see that in measuring and making, we need mathematics. Ask any carpenter if he could build a house without the use of mathematics. So it is too. Understanding the use of mathematics to the structure of words and letters as to molecules and atoms helps us to understand the matter and see the relationships within Scripture. We can see many allusions in these to these in the written word, but we need to understand more than just allusion to something. Our Jewish brothers understand that the Torah is to be analyzed on the basis of 4 different methods of commentary. They are Peshat, the simple meaning; Remez, the allusion, when you allude to something; Derush, inference; and Sod, or secrets. The first letters of these 4 approaches combine, the first letter in Hebrew of each of these 4 words combine to form the word partes. Partes, which means orchard. Sorry, I roll my tongue in my other language, so it's not easy to not do that automatically. Combine to form the word partes, which means orchard. When we understand Torah properly, then we know it is like the Garden of Eden, where the different trees are planted, and on these trees grow all kinds of fruit that can be eaten for our delight and well-being. And in fact, we see that very thing, knowledge represented as fruit on a tree, in the Scriptures. So now we'll look at just one of these 4. We're going to look at Sod, the secret things. The Scriptures speak to the secret things. So let us see first of all what is said. Deuteronomy chapter 29 verse 29 reads, "The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law." Some may draw the conclusion the secret things can only be understood and should only be understood by God. This is, of course, a wrong conclusion. For the verse did not say that the secret things would not be understood by some, and in fact clearly gives this as an allusion when it says, "Those things which are revealed belong to us and to our children." The fact that it says the secret things tell us that some will be revealed. To reveal is to know. And to know is to know that before it was revealed, that which was revealed was secret. We learn more of this. I mean, it sounds obvious, but it actually, people don't think about this. They take things for granted. I'll read it again. The fact that it says the secret things in this chapter and verse tells us that some will be revealed. To reveal is to know that before it was revealed, that which was revealed was a secret. We learn more of this understanding when we read Daniel's 2nd chapter, verses 21 and 22. It reads there, "And he changes times and the season. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealed the deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him." Now I'm going to put scriptures up on the screen as soon as I can. Watch for those. In these verses there is clear proof that he reveals the deep and secret things to whom he pleases. The Messiah himself said in Matthew 13, verse 35, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, saying, "I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world." This Genesis timeline, this is This, I believe, contains many of those secrets, all the things that you've learned here, which are not known by the many in the Western world, but by which you, from your understanding of them, can see that they make sense. You can see that these are not lies or illusions or stories made up by people or superstitions based on, you know how these people throw numbers around and superstitious use of numbers as some fad catches on. You can see that these relate directly to Scripture, and yet they were there all the time. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Let it be understood, folks, from Scripture, that all things that were secret are to be made known. Mark chapter 4, verse 21. For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. Does this mean that everyone that reads these things that are hidden will understand? No. In fact, it is guaranteed that they will not. There are those who read who are not willing to study for themselves, and they shall not understand. This is like the parable of the sower mentioned in Matthew 13. Some of this seed fell by the wayside, and the fowls devoured it. There was no work done on this ground to allow this seed to take root, and it was stolen by the fowls. Others will not understand much, and will not ever understand because they have only a little preparation, and the seed takes root, but since there's no study, it's never something that produces fruit. So in time, like the little plant that started to grow, it too will die from relationships that affect it. Then there are those who have studied, and these are not all the same either. For just as the good ground yielded some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold, so shall it be with those who read God's incredible word. Some will understand more than others, for some will put more effort into understanding than others, and each will be blessed accordingly. Has the Almighty hidden things, knowing they shall be found? 1 Corinthians 2:7. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which God ordained before the world unto our glory. He says in Proverbs 25, verse 2, It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. It says in the Bible that we are a nation of kings and priests. The who's who? Well, I guess we'll find out when we get there. But still, I just thought I'd throw that in there. We have a kingdom to look forward to, and a Messiah to worship, even more fully than we can even imagine doing so than now. Clearly we see that the Almighty has indeed hidden all things that shall be searched out, and these, folks, are related to wisdom. He has indeed hidden things that shall be searched out, and these are related to wisdom. And in the different means of searching them out, we get different results. This was sowed that I read to you. Some you may be quite familiar with, others you may find through seeking them out and asking the Lord's guidance all the way as you do so. There's always, don't ever think that you can run out of research. There's always more pearls of great wisdom to find. There is so much hidden there. We'll have the Bible for the next 1,000 years, and at the end of those 1,000 years, we'll still be finding things that we never knew were there. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.